If you have diabetes or prediabetes, you've probably been trying to eat healthier. Maybe you're choosing things that say keto, gluten-free, high protein, plant-based, or low fat. But what if some of these foods are actually working against your blood sugar efforts? Today I want to walk through 10 foods that are marketed as healthy, but may be quietly making it harder for people to lower their A1C, lose weight, or reduce medications. And some of these foods, my own coaching clients were eating every single day. So in this video, I'm going to break down 10 foods that often trick people, especially those with diabetes. Not because they're lazy or trying to make bad choices, but because the marketing on these foods is incredibly convincing. Food companies know that words like keto, gluten-free, high protein, low sugar, net carbs, and plant-based make us believe something is a good choice. But when we look at what actually happens to our blood sugar, that may not be the case. Hi, if we haven't met before, my name is Jared Linder. I'm one of the co-founders of the Diabetes Revolution. I'm a nurse and a health coach, and after being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes myself, I was able to reverse it through lifestyle and metabolic health strategies. Now I help others do the same. And a quick note before we dive in. I put together a free guide called 6 Steps to Reverse Diabetes Naturally. It walks you through the exact framework my clients use to start lowering blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. It's linked in the description below. All right, let's start with the first one. Have you ever bought something that said keto and assumed it must be safe for blood sugar? A lot of people do. One of my clients came to me eating keto bread every day, sandwiches, toast, keto tortillas, because the label said 1 net carb, but her glucose monitor told a different story. So when we looked at the ingredients, we saw things like modified wheat starch, resistant tapioca starch, processed fibers. These ingredients can behave very differently in different people. For some people with diabetes, these processed starches still spike blood sugar. So the lesson here is the label doesn't control your blood sugar. Your metabolism does. Your glucose monitor isn't going to lie, but the package might. Next question. When you see high protein on the front of a package, what do you assume? If you're like most people, you assume it's healthy. But many protein bars and protein cookies are really just candy bars with protein powder added. They often contain sugar alcohols, processed oils, refined starches, and artificial sweeteners. And many people notice something interesting. They eat one, and surprise, they still feel hungry, sometimes more hungry than they were before they ate it. So protein is important for metabolic health, but real protein foods like meat, eggs, fish, or yogurt behave very differently than ultra-processed protein snacks. So the marketing word of the day is protein, but the metabolic effect can still look like processed food. Have you noticed how many cereals now say high protein? Again, this is a huge marketing trend right now. And cereal companies realize that people are avoiding sugar. So instead of removing the processed ingredients, they simply added protein. Now the box can say high protein, heart healthy, whole grain. But the base of the cereal is still refined grains or starches. For someone with insulin resistance, this can still cause rapid glucose spikes. So again, the word protein doesn't automatically mean blood sugar friendly. Granola is another food many people think of as a health food, but let's break it down. Most granola is made from oats, honey, sugar, and oils, and the portion sizes are usually tiny. So even a very small bowl of granola can easily contain 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates. For someone with diabetes, that can spike sugar just as bad as dessert. For the next one, yogurt is interesting because by itself, it can actually be a great food. But flavored yogurt is a completely different story. Many flavored yogurts contain 20 to 30 grams of sugar, and that's similar to many desserts. Food companies add sugar to make it taste good, and then they market it as healthy. The better option is usually plain Greek yogurt, where you can control what gets added. It's the same food, but it has a very different metabolic effect. Now, this next one might surprise some people. Plant-based meats. Many people assume plant-based means healthier, but when you read the ingredient list, you'll often see things like processed oils, isolated proteins, starches, stabilizers. Some products contain 20 or more ingredients. Real food doesn't need a chemistry lab to exist. So again, plant-based doesn't automatically mean metabolically healthy. Now this one fools a lot of people. Gluten-free foods. Many people assume gluten-free means blood sugar friendly. But gluten-free snacks often replace wheat with rice flour, potato starch, or tapioca starch, which are all high glycemic carbohydrates. So for someone trying to lower their A1C, gluten-free doesn't necessarily mean blood sugar friendly. Now let's talk about veggie chips. Have you ever looked closely at those? The bag shows vegetables, spinach, beets, sweet potatoes, but when you read the label, they're usually made from potato starch, corn flour, and fried in oil. The vegetables, often just coloring for the powder. So the marketing says vegetables, but metabolically, they behave a lot like regular chips. The next one is low-fat dressing. This is a classic nutrition myth. When companies remove fat, they often replace it with sugar, corn syrup, or starch, because otherwise it's going to taste terrible. So low-fat dressing can sometimes contain more sugar than the regular version, which clearly defeats the whole purpose. Okay, here's the last one. Farm-raised fish. Many people eat fish for metabolic health, and fish can absolutely be a great choice. But farm-raised fish are often fed grain-based diets instead of their natural diet, which changes the profile of the fish. They also have high contaminant levels, antibiotics, a lower nutritional value, and they often have to contain artificial dyes to enhance their color, and they have higher toxin levels. So taking the time to understand where your food comes from can help you make better decisions. Now, if there's one thing I want you to remember from this video, it's this. Marketing doesn't control your blood sugar. Keto, gluten-free, high-protein, plant-based, low-sugar, or net carbs are designed to sell food. But your metabolism only cares about ingredients and physiology. And if you want to go deeper, watch the video I linked below in the description. In that video, I walk through the biggest daily habits that actually lower A1C naturally. Because once you understand how your metabolism works, lowering blood sugar becomes much simpler. Thank you for watching. I'll see you there.